Good morning to everybody. My name is Rosa Orenstein, and I'm the chair of the North Texas Renewable Energy Group this year. I want to welcome new and returning members. For those of you who are not members, I urge you to become a member. It's a very small price, and Lisa will give a short presentation on your membership opportunities prior to beginning the meeting. I do have a couple of announcements that I want to make, though. The first one is that NTREG has decided to create a financial committee to make sure we are not only spending our money wisely, but can help us forecast. So if any of the members out there are willing to serve or have the skills to help us serve, to serve in helping us forecast and plan, that would be greatly welcome. And I would ask you to either contact me or Michael Flatmark or Ron Zagari or Lisa, any of us on the board, and let us know so that we can try and get you to come in to help us with that. In addition, every year, a number of positions come open on the board. And this year, we have, or starting in January, we have the following positions which are coming open for any member that wants to run for those positions. We're always looking for new people to come in and help strengthen the group. So the positions that are open are secretary, one of the program co-coordinator positions, the event coordinator, which is sometimes referred to as a volunteer coordinator, and a member at large position. So those positions are coming open and are available for anybody who wants to run for those positions. In addition to North Texas Renewable Energy Group, we also have the Texas Solar Energy Society. Their elections are also coming up, and you can go to their website. They have a call out for candidates for their board. And I think you should, if you're interested, you should visit their website to see if there are any positions there that you believe that you can be a contributing member and apply for those. With that, Lisa, would you give the membership a update and your report announcement?
I'm here.
Sorry.
Oh, welcome to everybody. And my name is Lisa Magel. I'm the membership coordinator. And as Russa said, our annual memberships are quite inexpensive. It's $20 for an individual membership. That goes to pay for, things like when we can actually meet in person, we get coffee. Now you provide your own coffee, but we are providing a Zoom channel. So memberships go to support things like that. And then our activities, we're really hoping that we can participate in some events in the spring. If local cities and Earth Month events, if we figure out how to hold those outside, we're hoping we can participate in that, and our memberships go for booth fees and things like that. But it's very simple to join. You can go to our website, the NTREG website, ntreg.org, or to the Texas website. You can join through either place. Again, I welcome everybody. And if you have any questions about membership or any of the benefits, you can look on the ntreg.org and find my contact information and send me an email and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Melon, do you have an announcement to make as well?
Hello all. Melon West and I'm the volunteer coordinator. And typically I would be twisting arms to get people to go and man booths at various public events. But since most public events are not happening, I have a lot of time on my hands. But we are looking to the future and asking if anybody in the membership knows of events that will actually, now that more people are moving outside for events in a safe manner, as long as it can be conducted safely. If you know of anything in the spring that might be an outside event, please let me know, or any of the board members. And I'll probably send a little MailChimp questionnaire in the near future. And I guess that's, and my position will become open in the 21st. So if anyone wants to be a volunteer coordinator, I'll show you the ropes and help you get elected. So give me a call. All right.
Thank you, Melon.
All right, bye.
Thank you. For those of you who did not attend the DFW Solar Tour, the videos are posted on the website, and I know that there are people working on posting the conversations, the public Q&A sessions that took place. That is ongoing, but you can all go and look at those there. On behalf of the Climate Reality Project, they have their virtual meeting on November 21st, which is a week from today, I think.
Mhm.
And they're from 1 to 3 p.m. and you have the contact information, the Zoom information up on the screen right now. So we urge those of you who are interested in continuing to follow up on climate reality and sustainability to go to their meetings next Saturday. From members, we usually open up the floor for any announcements that would come from members. Dan, I know you have a couple of announcements.
Just a couple of very brief announcements. Number one, we have a very good publication here in our area called Green Source DFW. Every year they award various individuals and organizations for outstanding leadership and accomplishments in environmental and other aspects of our climate and so forth. This year, our member, Mohammed Abdallah, and his company, Good Faith Energy, were selected by Green Source DFW for the Environmental and Innovation Award, in part because they've only been around a short time and they're already quite diverse in their offerings. They not only do solar, they do wind, they do other things. They've provided a lot of additional free time, if you will, for various educational institutions and nonprofits, which leads me into the second part of the announcement. We have a wildlife center southeast of Dallas called the John Bunker Sands Wetlands Center. And for almost 10 years, that wetland center has hosted a camera mounted on a very custom manufactured high voltage tower, except it doesn't have any high voltage wires on it. 2 years ago, a storm came through and apparently it was an F0 tornado, demolished the cameras, and what didn't get destroyed by the wind got ruined by the lightning. So John Bunker Sands reached out to Good Faith Energy and they said, we need your help. and they ended up installing a complete new solar electric system, cameras on down. And by the way, that was no easy feat. The camera is at almost 100 feet up on the tower. Encore provided a bucket truck and the personnel, and that camera is online right now. And at last look, the eagles I'm seeing right now on the screen,
Wow.
that's
Look at the
mom and
eagles.
dad bald eagle. They'll be laying eggs in about a month. The camera that you're looking at is entirely solar powered. So that's kind of the summation of it. The entire solar electric aspects I designed, and then Good Faith Energy put it in.
Thank you, Dan. Any other members have any announcements they wish to make?
I just want to make mention that one of our board members brought to our attention a report that takes a look at rethinking of our renewable energy approach for the next 10 years, over the next decade. And I'll get the link and put it into the chat so that you can have it later. But it's called rethinkx.com. And we just want to bring that to our members and attendees' attention. There's another site that we'll put a link to in the chat room, and that's one that's called Rewire America, which is it's more focused towards climate change, but it's also how energy will drive and electricity will drive that towards our goals in the long term. So just keep posted to the chat and see where those links are posted when I have the opportunity to get them in there. Just wanted to mention, James, if you have an opportunity to speak and say a little bit about Dallas College and their sustainability program, that would be great. And I know that there are members of this group that are attending the Texas Energy Summit. It's a virtual summit that's down in Austin, going on right now, and then 2 days next week as well. So if you have the opportunity to attend that, you should. James, I see you're there with Rosa.
I guess the only thing I would say was that NTREG did participate in the Dallas College virtual sustainability summit earlier this month. And I set up a fake booth in my garage and tried broadcasting from there until my phone decided to overheat. And then I went back to my laptop and I tried to share some of the website and some of the other content. So tip to people doing WebEx, it's difficult to understand, and you have to make sure when you share your screen, you either click the one that says video or the one that says not video, otherwise the resolution is not good. But also as part of that, Georgianne specifically invited NTREG folks to, if they want to make a presentation, they're continuing their Sustainable You series, which now that it's virtual is a little bit easier to attend. And I think that's monthly. And Paul Westbrook made a presentation, I can't remember if it was early, no, last month in October. So thank you.
Thank you, James.
Do we have
any other comments from our guests? I'll apologize, Rosa.
No, that's fine.
Are there any guests who want to make comments or make notices in regards to any events that they would like to share with the group, or that you can just add it to the chat in the comments? Okay, so let's move on to our presentation, which is pretty exciting. I had the opportunity to attend a virtual meeting for the Houston Electric Auto Club down in Houston, and Larry was making the presentation down there. Larry Brassfield, who's one of our presenters today, in regards to their urban utility vehicles, and I thought it was just apropos that we have them come up here and present to Dallas as well. And his associate is Mary Brown. Their bios are on our website and everything. I won't, they can talk a little bit more, but they both have a lot of experience in regards to both fleets, school buses, utility vehicles. But, Lion Electric Company is a leader and an innovator in electric vehicles. And so I want to turn it over to them, let them go forward. Larry, if you can share your screen, we can get going.
Fantastic. Thank you. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All righty. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. And yeah, Maria is a great addition to our team. She's come to us with a very extensive background on the bus business. And you'll hear more about us as we go. But yeah, thank you all for your time. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to go through, the first part of which is actually a video. So,
of zero emission, design and manufacture all electric Class 5 to Class 8 commercial urban trucks and all electric buses and minibuses for the school, paratransit, and mass transit segments. Lion is a North American leader in electric transportation and designs, and we build and assemble all of our vehicles' components, including chassis, battery packs, truck cabins, and bus bodies. Let me introduce you to Lion Electric's facility in St. Jerome, Canada. Lion's operations cover 200,000 square feet, and we have the capacity to produce 2,500 vehicles a year. In this dynamic open space, which encourages collaboration and communication between teams, a variety of departments like sales, marketing, purchasing, legal, operations, and accounting work in synergy. In our research and development team, we have more than 100 full-time engineers to feed our innovation process. All products are conceptualized, designed, developed, and manufactured by Lion. Our vehicles are purpose-built and dedicated to being 100% electric. We are constantly developing new technologies and applications, and also working on improving our vehicles that are already on the road. This is our shop where we keep our robust parts inventory. We have several million parts in stock. At Lion Electric, we also assemble our own battery packs. We have developed our own battery management system, BMS, and battery thermal management system, BTMS, to maximize the safety and performance of our batteries in all situations, from extreme heat to sub-zero Siberian temperatures. Here is our truck assembly line. All our vehicles are fully developed, engineered, and assembled here at Lion. We also have our own paint shop, where we paint our truck frames to ensure a high-performance chassis with adequate rust prevention. Then all the other components, batteries, low-voltage and high-voltage wiring harnesses, and cab are mated to the chassis itself. This is where Lion Electric produces trucks, and we have just reviewed the production of our Lion 8 and Lion 6 trucks. Just like we do for Lion's trucks, our buses start with 2 frame rails, which will become the bus chassis. Axles, wheels, powertrain, and batteries are then added to the frame, along with supporting components. We are extremely proud of the fact that we build all of our vehicles ourselves, from start to finish. This is the Lion C and Lion D body assembly line, where our full-size school buses are manufactured. We start by assembling the floor structure, front and rear sections, and side panels, which are made of composite materials to reduce weight and prevent rust. Then the insulation, low-voltage wiring harnesses, and windows are added. We couple frame and body together. This is the production flow of our bus assembly line. While the chassis are built, the bodies are assembled in the adjacent area simultaneously. After mounting the two together, it's time to move the bus to the finishing steps. The final stages of vehicle production include connecting the electrical components, mounting the front bumper, and calibration of the onboard systems. These are very important steps for Lion because in the end, the small details make all the difference and cannot be overlooked. All of our vehicles are then inspected and subjected to quality control with the highest standards, including on-road testing. This is our Lion A and Lion M product line. The Lion A is intended for schools with special needs students, while the Lion M is a shuttle minibus. This vehicle platform is highly customizable and has great driver visibility. This is one of the most exciting areas in our facility, the prototyping area, where ideas come to life. Once the engineering drawings are finalized and approved, we begin building our prototype vehicles. These are the actual vehicles that will be used for certification. Each vehicle is then certified and exceeds the highest safety standards. With some of the expansion we've done in our facility, we have a state-of-the-art service area with easy exterior access. In addition, we also have service centers all over North America to support our customers directly in their home markets. This allows us to conveniently maintain our vehicles, as well as provide on-site training to our customers. These locations are used to prepare our vehicles for delivery as well. As you have seen, Lion Electric is very real. In fact, we have over 300 vehicles on the road right now, with more than 6 million real-world miles driven. We are currently manufacturing and delivering electric trucking solutions, as well as electric buses to transport students and individuals. We have 7 different types of 100% electric heavy-duty vehicles available today. And in 2021, we will increase to 11. Lion Electric, the bright move.
Okay, Larry, can I have you reshare your screen for your PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Michael. I am a truck salesman, not an AV guy.
Don't worry. I mean, between me and everyone else on this group, we would have been able to figure it out.
That's great. So let me get back into presentation mode. And that video is just very recently done by our marketing department, as I had mentioned, and touches on many things that I will reiterate here as we go through. So Lion today, we've got over 400 employees, several thousand, indirect employees. We do have a manufacturing facility, as the video stated, with capacity of 2,500 electric vehicles. That is bus and truck combined. We have over 300 buses currently in operation in Canada and North America, with over 6 million miles accumulated. We have experience centers throughout North America. You see them on the map here. The blue ones are current existing facilities. St. Jerome, it's about 40 minutes north of Montreal, province of Quebec. The last French speaking, so we have, I think Maria probably will share a chuckle here. We get a lot of correspondence in both French and English. And I've learned a term which is Franglish. So they will take English words and mash them with a French accent, and that is Franglish, which is what we communicate in. But the experience centers, it is not a dealership. It is more than that. It is a facility where we will host training sessions for drivers, technicians, operators, and the like, in addition to having parts and service support as well. I mentioned there, in our hometown of St. Jerome, also outside of Albany, New York, in the Seattle, Washington area, Sacramento in the Northern California, and then Los Angeles in the Southern California. You see the gray designations there. We will be opening in Arizona and also in Jacksonville, Florida. Our product line evolution, I can touch on real quickly. Our company was founded in 2008, and at the beginning of the video, you may have seen one individual there sitting behind a desk. That's our co-founder and president. His name is Mark Bedard, and Mark came from the school bus industry. Prior to starting Lion, he and the co-founder, they had background in the bus business, which gave them visibility. And part of our DNA is, they say, we like to say, if we're going to be different, we have to be better. And so with that, they came into product evolution and they wanted to change and improve upon the bus that was being built and delivered throughout the industry. And if you take a look at the first bus there, that diesel type C, it is a 102 wide rather than a 96. We were one of the first OEMs to go to the wider bus, which allowed for seat belts for all passengers. The other thing the video talked about, and even you may have noticed, the single piece roof. It is a fiberglass composite material. And the reason for that, and Maria can expound on this, in the bus industry, those typical legacy school buses have thousands of rivets along the roofs and throughout the body. And no matter how good of a job you do of caulking those rivets and being steadfast in your installation, inevitably, as a bus bounces down the road and stands the rigors of time and miles and all that, inevitably moisture will get in and you will have oxidation and rust from the inside out. It's almost like having arthritis, to where it just really compromises the structural integrity. So they really wanted to improve the bus body. That's where they came up with that single piece roof, which was a big evolution for us. They knew that they wanted to do something bigger and better beyond the bus, and they knew that alternative power was in the roadmap for us. Looked at some of the natural gases, looked at propane, decided to go electric. And in 2016, launched our first pure electric bus. And from there, as I mentioned, we've sold and delivered over 300 more that have accumulated over 6 million miles. Last year in 2019, we launched, you see in the middle there, the van body truck, the Lion 8. It is an urban truck, and that was a year and a half ago. That was our tandem axle Class 8 van body truck. That is really the first truck that we had in our product line. You also see that we did introduce the mini bus, and then you see the flat front on the Lion A there as well. In 2020, we introduced the Lion 8 refuse truck. We are the first OEM to have a pure electric body on a pure electric chassis. We've partnered with a company in Canada called Boyven Evolution, BEV. They bring 40 years trash bodybuilding experience and brought that, and they launched BEV, and we have a pure electric automated side loader. We will have a rear and a front loader in the near future, but right now that side loader is the industry's first pure electric body on a pure electric chassis. It is the most efficient when it comes to energy consumption, and it also gives you the lowest cost of maintenance, because you eliminate all those hydraulics and all the things that come with it. Looking at the roadmap and where we're going, you see the Lion D, also in a truck, the aerial lift, which is something that I'm really excited about. That is the tandem axle truck chassis, and we are working with a company in Canada right now, Posi Plus, as well as talking to some of the other United States-based aerial lift manufacturers to integrate their bodies onto our chassis. But we see great potential in that industry segment, because again, you can just really take advantage when you take that body and you put it on a pure electric chassis. And it just makes great sense as we're talking to municipalities and power providers, whether that would be Commonwealth Edison in the Midwest, or Exelon or others. CenterPoint would be one down in Texas that you would all recognize. We see a lot of potential there as well.
Hey, Mark, Larry, do you mind if I ask a question? We've already started getting a couple questions. Would you prefer that we get through your presentation before we start asking questions, or do you mind me interjecting every now and then and asking questions?
let us get through because we may answer some of these as we go.
Okay.
And then we did have the other Q&A that we will go through, and I think we may address some of these and then lead into that anything else not addressed from there.
All right. Continue. I apologize for interrupting.
No worries, all good. We've got here in Q4 2020 the Lion 8 tractor that will probably not launch until first quarter next year. We are very excited to be building and delivering our Class 6 truck right now. You guys may have heard of a online fulfillment company called Amazon. Who hasn't? They deliver to my house a couple times a week. And through the pandemic, they're really growing. But we are very proud to say that we were fortunate enough to be awarded some significant business. We're not able to disclose the quantities, but I can tell you that it is a multi-vehicle master supply agreement. And we do look forward to trucks delivering product here, hopefully before Black Friday. And that is in that Lion 6, which is a Class 6 chassis. If you look over to the right, 2021, we do have a Class 5 and a Class 7 truck coming out. We will have a boom truck chassis as well. We're also really excited in that Class 5 market to have an ambulance chassis. And we really are expanding the product line, so we will truly be a medium and heavy duty EV truck manufacturer, really to be reckoned with. I like to tell people we are the emerging leader in the EV truck business. We're doing what other people are talking about. Continuing on here, you know, I love speaking to a friendly audience, and when you look at, you know, why do we go, why are customers, fleets looking at going EV? It is because transportation really is, you know, one of the largest, you know, polluters, sources of pollutions, whether it's NOx and particulates in the greenhouse gas emissions. The general public, almost, you know, 92% believe that EV is the way to go. Less than 10% know about them. And then an even smaller percentage are actually buying them. So it's really an education. Why go electric? Again, you know, speaking to you, the friendly audience, one thing that I love about electric trucks is we don't reduce emissions, we eliminate them. This is a zero emission solution. And not only in the value proposition with electric vehicles, we talk about the fuel savings, but another significant portion of that is the maintenance reduction. As I talk to fleet owners and operators, I'll ask them, you know, what are your most difficult components and most expensive components to maintain? And they say engine, transmission, fuel, and exhaust systems. Well, we don't have those. And so really you just eliminate so many of those things. And we project a conservative 60% reduction in your overall maintenance costs. And actually that is in the first 4 or 5 years of ownership. If you actually extend it out years 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, those maintenance savings can really compound over time. Another thing is the trucks are so quiet, no noise pollution. And that's something that we hear directly from the drivers, the operators themselves. I'd love to say that our trucks and our buses, they're quiet, they're cool, and they're smooth. The health impact, you know, is just really hard to quantify, but you've got a driver who is more alert because he can hear what's going on. He doesn't have the vibration, the heat, all those things coming from a diesel engine. So it's hard to quantify, but it is certainly something to take note of. I mentioned the greenhouse gas reduction, the safety. Our trucks with our and buses with the regenerative braking, they are the safest. You do have I like to say up to a 50% reduction in your stopping distance. Driving a bus or a truck with the electric solution, as you let off the accelerator, no different than a car. As you let off the accelerator, you are immediately throwing power back to the batteries, but you're also slowing it down. It's like having the Jake brake in the number 3 setting. And from that, you reduce your braking distance and you increase your brake life. Calculating total cost of ownership is something that we always have to go through because it is a value proposition. Our vehicles do cost more, but the cost of ownership certainly is there. It's not a matter of if you're going to get your return on your investment, it's a matter of when. As I mentioned, really it's the value proposition comes from eliminating the fuel and the diesel exhaust fuel that goes with it, as well as the maintenance cost reduction. The video touched on it, and we like to really emphasize the fact, purpose built to be electric. And we say that, and what we mean when we say that, there's other OEMs that are doing remans and retrofits. We do not do that. We buy our frame rails from the same suppliers that Peterbilt and Kenworth do. And those frame rails, that's the spine of the truck. If you get a chance to go to an assembly plant, the buses and trucks, the frame rails come in first, the axles get dropped in, and from there, the foundation of the truck and the bus are built, and you see them go through their stages. But we build it from the ground up. We build our own cabs, and we're not going to retrofit or reman anything. And we like to say, when you do that, you put things where they belong rather than putting them where they fit. You see over on the left, this is really important. When you compare an electric motor to a diesel, look at the parts difference there, 20 versus 2,000. And of those 20, I believe 3 of them are moving. The rest are coils and magnets. So just the parts reduction alone, and then you correlate that into the total vehicle, is tremendous. And that is, again, another factor where you're going to have that significant maintenance cost reduction. We do assemble our own battery packs. We are looking at putting our own battery assembly plant together in the near future. That's something that we're very proud of. We currently have more kilowatt hours available than any other OEM on the market. I talked about the composite body with the bus that correlates into the cab as well. When you do that composite material and you build it from the ground up, you eliminate opportunity for rust, corrosion, paint, all those things, which is a reduction of downtime. I talked about the regen braking system. The brakes, they really do last 3 times as long. When I'm doing a cost of ownership analysis for a truck customer, they're doing brakes. If they're not doing them every year, they're doing them every other year. And that is just taken so much further out, especially, most customers are going to operate their vehicles for at least 5, 7, if not 10 years. And you can actually eliminate 2 or 3 brake jobs over the life of the vehicle. You eliminate the component cost as well as the labor cost. I talked about the fact that we don't retrofit or reman. Born to be electric, that's us. Pure electric, it's all that we do, and we do it really well. We custom built our cab, and we've had great response, and Maria may talk about this. In fact, she just delivered a couple buses down in Indianapolis last week. But everything is there for the drivers, whether they're tall or short, big or small, everything is there, and the drivers really do appreciate the cab construction that we offer. When we talk to customers about electrification, there's really 5 main components. First of all, we have to make sure it's going to fit the need. As a truck salesman, my job is to really find out what they're using their truck for, what are their needs for payload, what are their needs for range, what is their terrain, are they pulling out of docks, do they have hills, are they going off-road? What are the mileage, parameters that they're operating in? What are their duty cycles? Because quite honestly, right now, we don't have a truck that will fit 100% of 100, we don't have a fit that will meet all needs of every customer. We do have modular battery pack solutions, but the more questions I ask, the more I can understand about an operation, because we want to make sure if we're putting a truck into your operation, it's going to work. And that's where I have to really be diligent about those factors. Again, the payload, the range, the terrain, the duty cycle requirements. So once we find, that our truck could fit those needs, at that point, we start putting our proposal together. And just like electric cars, it is a value proposition. Our trucks and buses, they are significantly more than a diesel. But again, it is a total cost of ownership proposition. We go through that. And again, as I stated, whenever I go through a TCO with customer, it's not if you're going to get your money back, it's a matter of when. Now, as part of that, there are some significant funding opportunities, especially in places like Texas. We see great opportunity with Texas because they've got some of the richest funding opportunities through the VW Mitigation Trust Fund, also through the DERA, and even sometimes through the Department of Energy. There's different grants available. We've got a team of people at corporate. We've got 5 or 6 full-time people that are there looking for these grant opportunities, and they work with our end users, whether it's the school districts or the municipality or the fleets, to help them customize their application. They take it from application all the way through the process. And even if there are administration requirements for documenting throughout the life of the vehicle, we can assist with that. So that's great. It's going to work. You're going to find a way to pay for it. You know that the ROI is going to be there. How are you going to charge it? We've got a team internally that we call Lion Energy. It's a group of engineers and project managers that take a very complex situation and they simplify it. And really what we do is we introduce them to the district, the municipality, or the fleet, and they ask questions. Who is your power provider? What do you have? How many vehicles? What are your charging requirements? And we have a non-proprietary charging solution. We have partnered with a company called ABB. They're a global leader in electrification charging systems. And whether it's a level 2 or a fast charge cabinet, we work with our customers to make sure that we're going to be able to get power out to the charging cabinets, get those charging cabinets installed, and the solution is there. The other thing is, are we looking to do this on a couple vehicles? Or are we going to be looking at doing it fleet-wide over time? And if so, what's that going to look like? Lastly, the Lion Academy is, again, an internal support team to help with the training, the maintenance, the monitoring, all the things that come with the owning and operating of electric buses and trucks. The Lion Academy, here to support you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maria to tell you a little bit more about our bus line.
All right, thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. Just to let you know, I am the regional sales manager for the Southeast for school bus. So I'm going to go ahead and go through our school bus line and give you a little more detail on that. So Larry, if you could, next slide. So like you saw in the video and in the roadmap earlier, we do offer the A, C, and D. And so like Larry mentioned, there's a lot of components that are going to be similar to what you see on a school bus, and then obviously those components that are going to be different. So when you look at the frame rails, these are going to be the same kind of frame rails that are in all school buses. Your suspension systems, your braking systems, your steering systems, they're all going to be similar to what you're used to in a school bus. But obviously it doesn't have an engine, right? So all of our buses are equipped with a TM4 electric drive motor. So with this drive motor, there is not a transmission that is needed. It also starts automatically, so you don't need a starter, and it has no noise. It obviously has no emissions, and you don't need oil changes. So it's a low maintenance product, unlike the engines that you are used to in a diesel or gas. So the next thing is on the battery packs, you can see listed here on the under the A, C, and D, we have different kilowatt hours that are offered. And so, and above there is the miles. So this is the range that you're going to get based on the kilowatt hours that you choose. And so the reason that we do this is you can really customize what you need for your fleet or for the routes that you're running. So if you're running, say you have a route at, and it's going 80 miles in the morning, well, you don't necessarily need a 210 kilowatt hour bus. You can go to, the lower, the 126, or even the 168. The 210 would just be overkill for what you actually need. And so, this really differentiates us from our competitors. We want to be able to give you that option to customize your fleet as you need it without overkilling on the battery power that you need. The other thing I want to touch on, like Larry mentioned too, is the width of our bus, the standard width of a school bus is 96 inches. And like he mentioned, on the C and D, we do offer a 102. And this is really beneficial. It gives you extra space down the aisle on the inside of the bus. And this is great for, say there's a situation where you have an emergency evacuation, and so all the students can easily get out of the bus quicker. It makes it more efficient. We also hear it's from drivers that, they really like it. They have to go to the back of the bus every day, right, to hit that child check system, or whether it's to access a lift or what have you. And it's just easier for them to get down that aisle, gives them a little more space. And like Larry said, I was in Indianapolis last week and just talking to the driver, and they really don't notice a difference with that additional 6 inches. We had it going down just, side roads where cars were parked, and that 6 inches really is insignificant to the driver. So Larry, if you could, next slide. Larry, did I lose you? There you go. Okay, so we get asked all the time, how do our buses perform, or how do our buses and trucks perform in extreme weathers, or extreme climates? So we have buses running from all the way from South Florida to up into Canada. And just like you and I, we all have our temperature that we're most comfortable being at, right? And so batteries are the same way. They like to be in that 70, 75 range where they're going to run most efficiently. And so what we have is a heating element, and then also an AC compressor that manages the temperature of those batteries. So as it gets too cold or as it gets too warm, that heating element or that AC compressor will click on, and it'll ensure that those batteries stay at that optimal temperature. Okay, next slide. So like Larry mentioned, also the grant team that we have, so you're ready to go electric, you're ready to put an electric vehicle into your fleet. So what are the next steps? We have a grant team, like you mentioned, that can find funding in your region, and they can help you with completing the application. They will write the application for you, really tell your story, really help you with getting that grant. So next slide. I think Larry, you're up next. So Larry's going to go through and talk about our truck line.
Great, thanks, Maria. Some of this will be repetitive, so I'm going to try and keep moving here quickly. We like to be body agnostic. Really, we are building and delivering trucks. So you see several different configurations here, from a crane to a stake bed to a refrigerated body, and even a utility body, we like to think of ourselves as master integrators. So our job is to work with the different body manufacturers and help engineer their bodies onto our trucks. I mentioned the pure electric side loader truck that you'll see here as well. But it's really very important for us to just work with the different body manufacturers so we can customize solutions that work for our customers. I mentioned the Lion 8 here on the right. This is our flagship. We launched that a year and a half ago, March of 2019. It is a tandem drive axle there at the rear. Range on this truck is up to 150 miles. We do have a smaller battery pack configuration. And then I also talked about the Lion 6, which is a true non-CDL 26,000 pound gross vehicle weight rated truck. It actually has a little bit greater range potential as you've got a little bit lesser weight capacity necessary. Interesting side note is the Lion 6 was not on our roadmap until 2021, until things got very hot and heavy with Amazon. We found out that their desire and interest in our product was sincere and genuine. And with their interest in the opportunity, we moved it forward, and we are currently building the Lion 6, and we just see great potential for that. As I mentioned, with non-CDL configurations, there's a lot of different opportunities for us to grow the market with that truck. I talked about our pure electric refuse truck, the side loader. That is really our #1 seller right now. I'm excited to be working with different municipalities as well as the private companies in that segment. There is a strong program in Texas specifically for the refuse industry. You see savings when you go to that pure electric body versus the hydraulically driven. You eliminate a lot of the parts and therefore downtime and cost. Some of you may not be aware, but a diesel or even a CNG powered refuse truck can get between 2 and 3 miles per gallon. The trucks are normally getting in the 6 to 8 range, but that body is so heavy and the application is so strenuous that their consumption is reduced down to that 2 or 3 miles per gallon. So when you go to pure electric body over the pure electric chassis, that's where you get the most efficient consumption rate as well as the lowest cost of ownership. We do have, it is actually lighter than the hydraulic body. And when you eliminate the hydraulic, you just eliminate a lot of the maintenance. As I mentioned, 1,000 to 1,200 homes per day. That is actually arm movement. I'm going to keep moving here. I talked about the aerial lift, also known as a bucket truck. We see great potential. Again, these are typically low mileage, but then the consumption is going to be how many lifts per day does that aerial lift go through. And we work with the different OEMs. I'm sorry, I got to let my roommate out. He's just bothering me. Sorry about that. But the integrated solution, we're working with a company up in Canada called Posi. It is not a pure electric aerial lift, but we do have an ePTO to work with them, especially if you're going up on the power lines that you can't have the electric lift mechanism, but the ePTO would be powering that. And we're also working with Alltech and some of the other aerial lift manufacturers. You can see over here on the right, we've actually gotten to the point where we can factor and calculate what is the consumption rate going to be when you're pulling the AC through off our battery packs. What is the heat consumption factor? What is the bucket operation? What is that? So when we do that, we know which battery pack we will need to specify and quote for those operations. The tractor, really excited about this. We'll be looking to release that Q1 next year. We did have an announcement about a month or so ago. Canadian Northern, CN Rail, one of the leaders in the intermodal truck market, gave us a commitment for an order of 50. And we're really, really excited about it. One thing I didn't talk about before, that I'm sure you've all have recognized with the trucks is the flat front, as they call it in the bus world. In the truck world, it's oftentimes referred to as a cab over, but we don't call it a cab over because there's no engine for it to be over. This is a cab forward configuration. There's one reason we went to the cab forward design, and that is visibility. You can have an adult standing within arm's length, touching the hood, clearly visible from that window right there. You're also going to have the tightest turning radius possible. You see this huge torque number. That's because the torque on demand that you get when you go EV. The range on this truck as it stands right now is 210. And as battery technology continues to evolve, we look for those ranges to continue to improve. And that range is with the 588 kilowatt battery pack. All our trucks come with level 2 or level 3 charging capacity. Continuing to move along. I mentioned before, one of the support mechanisms, Lion Beat, is our own telematic system that will allow the management and the operations managers to have visibility to the truck's performance or the bus. That will show state of charge, that will show battery health, also showing consumption levels, how much range do they have, and if there's anything going on, even if it's a tire pressure management, the TPM, it'll give you an indicator, say, hey, your right rear inner tire is low. So it can oftentimes send off alerts, and it can just really give you great management tools to really operate the vehicles most efficiently. And with that, again, reducing that cost of ownership. I mentioned how we are level 2 and level 3 capable, and we use ABB for our charging solutions. On the Lion 6, the level 2 J1772 charging system is available, as well as the different fast charging combination charging systems, whether that's 25, 50, or even 100 kilowatt per hour charging solutions, is some of the very rigorous operations need, whether it's multiple trucks or just very tight windows for charging. The fast charging system is available. All of our vehicles are built as V2G ready. And people are V2G, well, that's vehicle to grid. And actually, we like to say it's V2X. It could be vehicle to vehicle. And Maria may be able to expand upon this, but I believe we've got operators down in Florida where we've got some bus fleets that they're working to have their power for their buses when they're not running. They're going to be using those to provide power to storm shelters when hurricanes come. So that is just a next level thing, and really thinking out of the box, and we just see great potential for that. And it also goes back to why I'm really excited about calling on the different power and the utility providers. There's no reason that CenterPoint Energy or somebody else, they ought to be driving electric trucks, right? And especially if you've got V2G capabilities, it just makes sense to me. So when it comes down to it and people ask, well, wait a second, you know, we've seen these legacy diesel OEMs, whether it's on the bus or the truck side, they've been around, but you guys say you're the leader. Why? Well, one word, experience. With the 300 vehicles and the 6 million miles, nobody else can say that. We are on our 5th generation of our battery management system. That just continues to evolve and get better and better and better. Between that and the fact that we've got the folks internally on our grant team, as well as within Lion Energy to help get the infrastructure, all those things, nobody else has that. And that's really what we believe makes us the leader. We've got our contact information here, and Maria and I are just really excited about the opportunity in Texas. And again, I said it before, and I don't even know if Maria was on, but yeah, my territory is the Mid-South. I didn't get a chance to tell you that. It's Texas and then 5 states that surrounding them. But when I put my business plan together, it's 80% Texas, 20% the other 5 states combined. Very simply because it's where the biggest fleets are, and it's where the most significant funds are. And when I look at all the different groups that are really supporting the move to alternative power, we're just really, really thrilled about the opportunity in Texas, and for Michael and I to meet on the you know, that Houston Electric Auto Association, and he was chatting me. We exchanged phone numbers and we started talking, and man, Michael and I get talking, and I just, that's where he talked about this group. I see the potential. Really, really excited about it. So that concludes the PowerPoint.
There were some questions that were, when we threw this topic out, we received some questions ahead of time, which I forwarded to Larry. They're pretty technical questions. And so that's what he was referring to.
Okay.
So their questions, they already came from our group. And so we can mix them up.
Right. Well, here.
Were you going to present those as a
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here if
Fair
hold on.
Okay.
Sharing my screen. Here we go.
So one thing I'd like to remind all of our attendees is that in the chat group, if you have it pulled up, you can go all the way down to the bottom where it says file at the bottom right, and there's 3 dots next to it. If you go to that and you click on the 3 dots, it says save chat. You can save all the comments in the chat that has gone up above, and it saves it to a text file. Now everyone's computer and operating system slightly different, so you have to know where your text files get saved. But it's the ability to go back and see what was asked. And of course, this is being recorded. And so it'll be on our website, and you can go back and hear the answers and things like that. So I just wanted to throw that out. Thank you. Larry, back to you.
No problem.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah. So you guys see the Word document that I've got on the screen here, where number 1 is battery management, active or passive.
Does everyone have good visibility to that? I mean, can they read the questions and the responses? I throw that out just someone say yes.
I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ann.
Could be larger.
And we
For those of us
touched
who have older eyesight, I would like one font larger if possible.
You just zoom in a little bit, Larry.
Let's see here.
There should be a plus arrow on the top of your to do an enlarge, or
It's at the bottom of the
at
screen.
the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom on the right. Yep, there you go.
How's that?
Yeah, that's great.
No problem.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, so the first question, and we touched on this, and we may expand on it with your help, Maria, please. Battery management, is it active or passive? The short answer is yes. It is an active system on the trucks. It's actually gas cooled, maintaining optimum temp. And even on the video, we did talk about the thermal management system and how important that is. Maria, anything that you might add?
I don't know if the if the truck and bus is different, but the bus is air cooled. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
so it has the heat and the AC that will manage the temperature of the batteries.
Right. That's where and I thought it was different. So on the trucks, it is actually a gas, and on the bus, it is the passive air cooling solution there, which answers question number 2. Battery chemistry, lithium, nickel, manganese, cobalt, NMC. Okay.
This is the same battery that's used across the board, at least for school buses, I know. So yeah, there's nothing different.
Right. And we do have our battery management system that's continuously monitoring the cells. And one thing that, you know, is we always talk about a stated and an actual range capacity with our buses and trucks. And we do have the monitoring system, and that's where through the Lion Beat, the telematics system, the managers and operators will have visibility to that as well. In the case of a collision, power does cut off, all right? Not much different than an airbag system in a car. Battery pack did successfully pass SAE J2464 testing procedures, which included drop, mechanical shock, short circuit, overcharge, and others. Nail penetration test was also performed. Next question: is a heat pump available for cab heating in moderately cold, reducing the range? So you'll see my answer here, but let me start by saying that we are based in Canada. So we are designed and engineered and born in cold climates. All right. Now, in the truck, we've got a solution where we can heat off the main battery pack, and we do have a consumption factor of 4 to 6 kilowatts per hour when in operation. So if I've got a 168 kilowatt battery pack and you're going to have a 10-hour day ahead of you, you know, that would be a significant reduction there. So we may be looking at one of the bigger ones. One thing that's really good to note, though, is you can actually preheat the cab while the vehicle is plugged in. So you're actually using the energy off of the grid, not depleting from that. We do also have an auxiliary heating option, far more efficient than pulling off of the battery packs. But then at that point, you are no longer pure electric. It's a ProHeat auxiliary heater that draws in air from the outside. Combusted air is discharged, etc. It's very efficient. We say the auxiliary heater is designed to work independently. We'll use 5 to 10 gallon diesel tank and approximately 50 gallons over the course of a year. Well, really that is one tank per month over a 5-hour, you know, whether you want to start it in November through March, you know, and you see the consumption rate estimation there of the gallons per hour. So continuing here, let's see.
Hey, Larry, if I could just let you know, so the heating options for the school bus are going to be the same. And, you know, like Larry said too, you can, for an afternoon route in Texas, you can have the bus plugged in and be cooling that cabin down and not withdrawing the power from the batteries. So, you know, it's really beneficial in that way. And that air conditioning, let me tell you, it works. I was down in South Florida and we had grown men telling us to cut the air off. It was getting too cold on there, so.
That's good to know. Good to know. Thank you. Number 5 was an interesting question, Michael. I'm not sure where it came from, where he says, from other presentations, Lion is battery agnostic. Does this mean the charging system and control will work differently with different packs designed by Lion? I said, well, you know, I'm not sure which presentation you were referring to, and I even mentioned it. We like to say that our trucks are body agnostic, and we work with the different body manufacturers to engineer and mount their chassis. With regards to the batteries, we do not have a proprietary charging solution. And I mentioned ABB that we've partnered with for the charging solutions. There are other OEMs that do have their proprietary solutions, and I don't see customers being receptive to that. So the ABB charging system, if you bought a Lion truck, you know, and then you decided to bring in a lighter duty, different OEM, you would be able to use that same charging cabinet. Maria, can you expand on that with regards to bus?
Yeah, I think it's about the same. I mean, you know, you can use different charging, although we've partnered with ABB, I mean, you can use different charging companies. I mean, in South Florida, they're using Nuvi, same in Indianapolis. So I don't think you have the option to choose who you want to choose.
Right. Just continuing on with our answer there, Lion battery packs suffer very little degradation, and this is not an estimation, this is taken from the 300 buses, 6 million miles. And actually, I've been told that the degradation, which is just the reduction of the capacity of the battery over time, I've been told that it's 0.5% in a bus. We say in a truck that it's going to be a much more difficult, rigorous application. So we'll take that ×4, and we're going to say that the degradation for the battery would be 2% per year. But that means 10%, or actually 10 years from now, rather, you're going to have 80% capacity still left, which essentially would mean you would just be charging a little more frequently. With that, battery swapping would really not be necessary. Question number 6, do Lion vehicles have one pedal driving, high regenerative brake setting? Short answer, yes. And regen braking, like I said before, it's like having that Jake brake in the strongest setting. And I've been told, from the drivers firsthand, that's the one transition they have to make is just getting used to feathering the accelerator pedal, slowing the vehicle down just by letting off the accelerator without even jumping onto the brakes. Maria, you just delivered a bus. What has the feedback been with the regen braking that you've seen and heard from our operators?
Right, so what we do when we deliver school buses, we'll do driver training. And so we have the driver go through their route, and I mean, you see it firsthand with every driver. It's they took their foot off the accelerator and they're pushing on the brake. And so what we're really trying to train them is as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, you can actually feel the bus. It actually moves you. You can feel the bus starting to stop. And and so we're kind of training their brain to say, okay, well, let me just slide into this stop sign, or kind of glide into it without having to push on the brake. So they really like it. You also have the option to turn it off should there be an ABS, you're in an ABS situation. And also just to note too, the regen doesn't turn on until after the bus is down, is it 80%, I think it is, of the battery capacity. So, but I mean, we get a lot of positive feedback, and again, it's going to save you maintenance. So it's a great feature, I think.
Yeah, it really does. And it's so strong that, I know it's a law, but humans are still humans. They better have their seatbelt on. So if you took your foot right off the accelerator, you better have your seatbelt on, or else you might be kissing the windshield.
Yeah, you definitely feel that movement.
Continuing on quickly with the questions so we can get to live Q&A. Does Lion do route charging and modeling to help customer maximize their charging and rolling stock use? My short answer is yes, although this is evolving. Between the Lion Beat, which is our telematics system, and then our Lion Energy, which is our engineers and managers internally, we are going through that evolution. We look forward to a potential on the diagnostic side of having something where we could plug in and after a week send it to us, and we could do a further route analysis. That's the direction that we're going. although we are not there yet. Let's keep going. Michael, I owe you an answer. I went to the engineers with question number 8, and I did not get a response on the silicon carbide components. So I will get you an answer back on that.
Hey, Larry, one thing is that you will provide a copy of this that we can upload along with your PDF file for our website and our members to have a review after all this is done. We appreciate
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Oh, yeah. I'll email it as soon as we're done with the call.
Fantastic.
Question number 9. Has Lion conducted aerodynamic studies? Yes, we have. Among the most aerodynamic trucks on the market and the buses, I talked about that cab forward configuration. When you've got that flat front, when it comes to matters of aerodynamics, you break that wind flow once, and that is your most efficient configuration that you can have. Lion worked with a company called Bombardier Aerospace within the National Research Council to maximize aerodynamics. So very happy to report that. Has a solar PV option been considered? Lion considered solar PV options to power accessories such as refrigeration. What I've been told is there's just not enough real estate on the truck to do that. With the bus, I don't know if it would be there. Really, what my understanding is if they were going to do that, more likely on a trailer behind the semi-tractor. You know, and Michael, and you guys even talked a lot about solar. There's just not enough space, or I don't think the panels are that efficient. We've looked at it. We're just not there yet. I know that technology is continuing to evolve, and I don't want to take us into a rabbit hole. But Michael, you and I got talking because I've got solar on my roof of my house, but I've got 34 panels on 4 different roof sections, and it's a 9.86 kilowatt system. Okay. And when you're talking a 252 battery pack, you know, that we use for our trucks, it's just not there yet. I know that there is evolution for it. But again, I think that's one thing that they're just scratching the surface on. Question number 11, you know, I really touched on this. We don't do light duty. We currently have the Class 6 and the Class 8, and our product roadmap for 2021 does include the 5 and the 7. Quite honestly, that light duty EV market is awfully competitive. And really, we're medium and heavy duty, and that's where our focus is. So I don't see us going into the Class 4 and lighter. But I am excited about a Class 5, especially in the aerial lift. Excuse me. So that's all there. And again, I will email this over to you so you can post it onto the website. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Do you want to just start taking us through the chat and some of the questions that came up?
Sure. And what I want to do is I'm just going to come back and share my screen. If I can find my report. I think I accidentally closed my report. So let's do the view so we see everyone. Does everyone see everyone? Okay, great. Hi.
Hi, I'm back.
All right, so Rosa, between the two of us, why don't we go through our questions that have been raised by the chat or that have been posted in the chat. And then if anyone wants to ask a question, just raise your hand and you know, we'll try to get to you.
Okay, well, let's start with Mark Whitty's question regarding whether with the incoming administration, what your views are of the changes of additional grants being available to school districts to transition to electric buses. Maria or Larry?
When you're saying incoming administration, you're saying nationally?
Yeah, for
Yes,
the
sir,
US
federal.
government, yeah.
You know, I don't think
United
it's going
States.
to. No. I just no, and believe me, I'm not a politically correct person. Just spend some time with me. I'll tell you how I feel. I don't think it's going to change. The VW Mitigation Trust Fund, that is in place, and that is going to continue to be in place. The DERA, Diesel Emissions Reductions Act, that's in place. Those funds are there. I will say with Joe Biden, you hear talk about the Green New Deal. If anything, there's just going to continue to be more support. But yeah, with the current programs of VW and DERA, in addition to what Texas has to offer, I don't think anything, if anything, is just going to increase. Maria, you have thoughts on that? You're pretty well versed on the funding side.
Yeah, I mean, we'll welcome more grants by all means, but and obviously the way that Biden had spoken, it seemed like he wanted, to push electric. So, we're open to it. I guess we'll see what happens.
I guess in that context, to follow up on Mark's question, is what is the industry demand that you see for electric buses, not just for Lion, but for the industry as a whole?
For electric school buses, I mean, we definitely see it increasing. Obviously, and as more money comes out, and as battery technology gets better, and there's more demand for electric, that the cost of the battery is going to go down. So really, right now, it's funding, and so the more funding that's available, the more the more buses we'll be able to put out there. Did I answer that?
Yeah. And I would just say, in a very general sense, on the truck side, that customers are buying trucks and buses, I believe, to prove the concept. As it gets proved, it's going from 1 and 2 and 3. From there, that's where you're going to start seeing more of the volume, 5, 10, 20. But it is, the funding is very much a portion of it. Because it is a value proposition, especially for school districts. And let's face it, there's budget constraints. And through the pandemic, everything has changed. Are they on hybrid schedules or not? Some of the districts, the buses just aren't even running, period. Others, they may be actually running more if they've got students distanced in hybrid schedules. But again, you're working with taxpayer dollars. And those are long processes. So we're dealing with budgets all the time. So one of the things that I get frustrated with is just the very long sales cycle. But it's just going to continue to accelerate. And let's face it, Maria and I, we bet our career on electric. And we believe that's the strongest endorsement I can give.
There was a follow-on to Mark's question, which dealt primarily with your ability as demand increases to be able to meet your demand for vehicles. Now, you had mentioned in very early that your capacity in your plant in Canada is 2,500 vehicles a year, and that, of course, that's the mix of your product line. So, are you meeting that demand now, or is that your forecast? And if you do have to expand, is there going to be another plant expansion in a new location? Come to Texas.
Thank you. It's you put it on a T for me. First of all, that 2,500 capacity, we are not at capacity as I understand it, but we are actively looking into the U.S. to get a highly automated assembly plant here in the U.S. It'll help just especially with right now getting things across the border is an issue. Secondly, freight is a huge expense. So we are very actively looking at expansion for an assembly plant into the U.S. That will happen. If it's not in 21, I think it would be 22 at the very furthest, in addition to a battery plant to where we could be standing alone there. So again, we're not at capacity, but believe me, we're looking to ramp up, and we will also have facilities, because I don't know what Maria has heard, but I heard the number 12,000 vehicles a year once we get the second plant. Have you heard that, Maria?
Yeah, I've heard that number too. So it's exciting. Yeah,
Well,
but
consider, when you do start looking out and about, consider Dallas. We're an intermodal regional national center, and between both access to Houston and our rails, it's a great location. So
Right.
you know, it'd be great to see Dallas move forward in that. We also have an automobile manufacturer here, Chevrolet. They have a Cadillac plant in Arlington.
Right. Well, so one thing that I do want to say, and I don't know if they're looking at Texas for an assembly plant, but I can tell you that in 2021, we will be putting an experience center in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So we have that in a different presentation that we've shared, and on the video, they talked about it where we're going to go from 6 to 11. Well, Texas is one of the priority states that we have targeted for an experience center. Now, whether that's going to be DFW, San Antonio, Houston, I really believe that that's going to be customer led. Mm-hmm. But it is high on our priority to get an experience center in Texas.
the other thing I want to touch on that real quick too is I'm not sure how it is for truck, Larry, but I know for school bus, we can't sell direct to a customer, so it has to go through a dealer. So we have been interviewing with different dealers, and the dealer it won't just be to sell a bus, it will also be to help service until we can get that experience center up and running.
Larry, you've mentioned that several times that it's a value proposition for the bus, and obviously there is some carbon footprint that gets caked into the manufacture of the school buses in particular. Have you estimated what how much time would take to offset that carbon footprint from the manufacturing process before you start getting into savings?
Well, on the manufacturing side, I haven't been able, I don't know if you've seen that, Maria, I haven't. When we talk about the greenhouse gas reduction that a bus or a truck will offer, that is through, the operation of that vehicle by eliminating the fuel, the diesel exhaust fuel. The manufacturing side, I haven't factored that in or really had that question, quite honestly. Maria?
No, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, I haven't heard that question either, but I mean, we can definitely find out.
Yeah, so carbon impact through manufacturing, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's being considered more and more as part of evaluating products, as far as it's not just the use by the consumer, but it's also how it's been manufactured. And so it's that total carbon footprint through the entire life cycle. And of course, there's the recycling component there as well. So do you all have a recycling program associated with, say, your batteries? What's the life of your batteries?
Maria, do you want to lead the initial response here?
Sure. So our batteries have a 3,000 cycle. So that's assuming that it's going to go through 300 cycles in a year. So it'll last 10 years. You're going to see some degradation after 8 to 10 years, depending on how many cycles you have. But, the life of the battery, so it's not just to say it can be used just as a school bus. It can be recycled to a power plant, or can be used in other ways. So it's not like it's just going to be used in a school bus and then thrown away. There are alternate uses for it. Larry, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I can expand on that. while she's looking through her notes there, with the trucks, first of all, our batteries have a projected 4,000 cycles. Standard warranty is 8 years with an option to go to 12. So we're very confident that our batteries will last at least 12 years. Second life, we do have a couple different options that we can offer there. Maria, were you able to come up with your notes?
Well, you're on mute there, Maria.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to find, I have a slide that shows what the alternate uses are, and I'm just struggling to find it right now, so.
That's okay.
It's
You
okay.
can provide that at another time.
Okay,
Because there's been a lot of discussion in our attendees and everyone pretty familiar with recycling and repurposing of used of batteries when they come off the market, either from an electric vehicle or from other purposes as well. So,
okay.
Rosa, you want to go to
Yes.
the next question?
Sure. Larry, Melon wants to know, who are your main competitors?
From a school bus side, you know, there's other, I guess Bluebird and Thomas are our main competitors. So they both have their electric school buses out there.
Okay, how about the other vehicles?
Well, in truck, I'm just sitting here smiling, and I'm going to tell you that our competition is diesel. We're doing what everybody else is talking about doing, especially on the refuse side, because nobody else has been able to work that pure electric body with an EV chassis. And we are actually building and delivering vehicles. Obviously, all of the legacy diesel OEMs have an offering that they're trying to bring out, but they're always going to be a diesel OEM. And really, I think that their focus is not towards EV because they make so much money on the parts sales. And with the parts and maintenance reductions that EV offers, the diesel OEMs are always going to look at EV as a sideline supplement. There is a company called BYD that is a Chinese owned OEM that initially, really, they're a battery company, and then they started selling forklifts, and then they did some transit buses. They do have a refuse truck, although I don't know if it's in production, and they don't, I'm not sure if they have a pure electric body solution. Competition is coming for sure, and we know it. We just know that we're ahead of it.
So is Peterbilt not one of your competitors?
Oh, they're a competitor, but they're not. They haven't built or delivered anything, so we're ahead of them. You know, but Peterbilt, Kenworth, they are both. You know, and they're a great company. You know, Packer is a great company. Peterbilt and Kenworth both. They do have EVs that they will be offering, but like I'm saying, they're just not into production yet. You know, and so does Daimler, Freightliner, Volvo. They're all coming along. We just with the 6 million miles and the 300 buses, we just have that as a launching pad. Between that and we've got orders into Waste Connections, the #3 solid waste carrier that's based out of Houston. They've given us orders, and they've also got applications in for, let's just say, more than 10 in Texas on the current program. Then we've got the order from Amazon. We've got an order from CN Rail. Nobody else can say that. And so our press releases is really a who's who of industry leaders. So we're very proud of that.
Michael, you want to take the next question?
Sure. This is from Eugenia, and total cost of ownership is that with or without subsidies over the, when you throw your numbers out as far as that it's reduced total cost of ownership, does that include the government subsidies or not?
Initially, we'll do it, but we can do it both ways. It's an Excel formula. And so I'll have the subsidy as just a variable in that equation, because inevitably the question will be asked because when it's so strong, when you're getting 70% off the total vehicle, your ROI is practically immediate. That you're going to see your ROI in the first year, maybe two. And then they say, that's great. And then what happens when that program goes away? And then it's like, okay, so you take that variable and you take that percentage from whatever to zero, and you show that you will get your money back, but it may be year 4, 5, 6. Typically, I'll tell you that my experience on the truck side is when I take that subsidy away, you see that ROI in about year 5 or 6. So we do it both ways. And, the customer, the purchasing manager, he's not doing his job if he doesn't look at it without the subsidies, because it's one thing to prove the concept, get it in, but they also need to know that the ROI will be there if that subsidy goes away.
Eugenia, did that answer your question?
Yeah, perfect. So I understand that the total cost of ownership is still superior once the subsidy is taken away.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And my experience on the truck side is they will depreciate between 5 and 6 years, 7 at the longest, but then they will operate them for at least 10 to 12. So again, and the other part of it is, we like to say everybody wants to have an ecological conversation, but the economics have to be there first. The other part of that is the economics don't work if the truck or the bus doesn't do the job. First of all, it's got to finish the route, and it's got to do it well, and it's got to do it safely, So first is it's got to do the job. Second of all, the economics have to play out because the sustainability doesn't happen if the economics don't support it. But they do. And again, it's not if you're going to get your money back, it's when.
Janelle had a couple questions. I think one of them you answered regarding getting involved in the charging setups for the school districts. But I didn't see, and I don't think her question regarding what the charging time, what that is for, let's say, for your school buses.
Okay, on school buses, so again, it's going to depend on the battery pack that you choose. So on a level 2 charger, it's going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 hours, just depending. And then on the level 3 fast charge is going to be anywhere between 2.5 and 5 hours.
And other than the agreement you have for the charging stations, are there any other options other than that for entities who might buy your school buses for them to charge their equipment?
I'm sorry, what? Can you say that question again?
Yes, you have an agreement. Is it with ABBM or something like that for?
Yeah. Okay.
And
that's not so to say that you have to use that company. You can choose what infrastructure company you want to use. It is compatible with all others. It's not compatible with Tesla, but but it is compatible with other charging companies.
Okay.
Right. It's just the partnership is with ABB, but if you wanted to go with ChargePoint or one of the others, totally fine.
Okay. It's all the same. And our Line Energy will still help you in that whole process. So they'll still work with you on what infrastructure you need, ensuring that it gets installed and managing the infrastructure.
Fantastic. Michael, you want to take the next one?
The next one's from Mellon. And I believe he was asking about, on your utility truck, the one with the boom arm, is it totally autonomous or is it managed and controlled by the operator in the cab?
No, it would be operator driven. You know, it's interesting that the industry talks about AI and autonomy. No, that would be, it's not an autonomous system. And we are working with the various aerial lift OEMs, Posi Plus in Canada, Altec in Alabama, working with them, and it would be an ePTO that their body uses to operate the lift, pulling off the battery pack from the truck, but no autonomy yet.
Yeah, so Mellon, actually, do you want to continue?
Yeah. I wasn't referring to the bucket trucks. I was talking about the refuse trucks.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and again, AI is evolving for sure. And, you know, I see that evolution happening, but just like in vehicles, in automobiles rather, you know, you still have to have the driver in the vehicle. So as AI evolves, you know, that capability will be there. And certainly with the diagnostics and the telematics, you know, we're going to be able to work with those different AI manufacturers. I know it's something that they're talking about, but I don't see it coming in a road vehicle in the near future.
Yeah, they're moving away from crew-served sanitation trucks as fast as they can. Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Right. Well, it's the one last thing to say that I could offer on that point. Before I came to Lion, I was with a yard truck manufacturer, and AI is evolving there, but in those spotters, yard dogs, hostlers as they're known, you know, significant percentage of those don't even leave the lot, which is an ideal situation for AI. If you got a truck that's living in the 10 to 12 mile an hour range and not leaving the lot, that's an ideal situation to introduce AI. As it goes to road vehicles and so many different variables, especially with the refuse trucks being in residential areas, I see that being a slow progression, and they will have to have a driver in the vehicle for a number of years. It is evolving, no doubt. It's just the timing of it.
Larry, Eugenia wants to know whether your customers are going electric by a desire to go green or by the economics of your product.
Boy, it varies, and I'll let Maria expand on this, but my short answer is both. With the truck purchase, one of the most important things that I could do is find out who's the decision maker. And typically that is multiple people. You're going to have a maintenance manager, you're going to have somebody looking at the economics, and then you're also going to be looking, you know, perhaps a safety, you know, director, and ultimately you're going to have the president of the company. Typically, it's a interest in sustainability, but it needs to be backed up with economics.
Yeah.
So is one leading the other? I will tell you that the food industry, they're great prospects for us because there are many of them that are really flying the green flag of sustainability. But again, it's a desire for sustainability, but the economics have to be there. Maria, what do you see on the school side?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they kind of go hand in hand. I don't know that you really see one over the other. You know, the go green side of it, when we talk about school buses, we're talking about kids, you know, we're talking about these, the greenhouse gases, the NOx levels. I mean, you know, what they're breathing in. And so you really see school districts really entertaining electric because for that reason, for the benefit of the air that these kids are breathing. And then the TCO message just goes hand in hand with the EV. So I don't know to say they're choosing one over the other. It's really just, here's all of the benefits of going electric, and you know, that's how we can sell it.
Yeah, I found intriguing when I heard your presentation from Houston was when you were talking about the utility purposing, especially like with the lift truck, you don't have any noise. And so right now with all the hydraulics, the diesel has to keep going to drive the hydraulics and everything, and no one can hear each other. So they're gonna have to talk by walkie-talkie or something like that. All that goes away. And plus you don't have the truck idling there because it's working off the batteries. It can, right. So you're not polluting the air. I mean, it's just, there's so many positives right. in the long term. Molly has a great question here, and it deals with your composite bodies. And the first question is, is a two-part question. One is, do you have any recycled content in that? And then the follow-on is, do you have any specific sources or resources to recycle the vehicle bodies at the end of their life? Which begs me to ask the question is, what are you projecting the life of these vehicles to be? Because, you know, few moving parts, replace the tires for maintenance, batteries where they have to be replaced, you know, at 8, 10, 12 years. But, you know, I mean, I know you all have looked at that. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I'll start. I mentioned the 12-year battery life potential with extended warranty on the trucks. So certainly we know that the bodies are going to live up to that. As far as repurposing to a second vehicle, actually, I think it might be more pertinent for Maria to speak on with the bus, because, you know, we do see, you know, more of the vehicle is the body than the chassis. So I understand the concept of what you're talking about. Is it possible to take that bus body onto another chassis? Perhaps. But I will tell you, actually, on the refuse truck, that material in the back of a garbage truck is so corrosive that many operators will actually do a new body in between years 8 and 10. And we will actually factor that in, that they're either going to refurbish the body or they're going to replace the body. So I can actually look at that and factor that in when I'm doing my cost of ownership. But as far as transferring the body to a new chassis, I mean, the other part of it is, you know, we've been delivering vehicles since 2016. So that longevity factor is yet to be proven. Mm-hmm. Maria, your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, I haven't had this question either. And as far as, you know, do our bodies include any recycled content? You know, that's something I'll have to ask. I'm not sure if we know that or not. And, you know, again, you know, we've only had vehicles out since 2016, so we haven't had to recycle any of our bodies yet. But, you know, that's definitely something that that I can ask the question about. I mean, as far as your life of your bus, your batteries aren't going to degrade at the same time, so you can replace your batteries as you need them, and you know, your body is definitely going to withstand the life of the bus as well. But I can get more detail on the recycling part of it.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Hey, Maria, I've got a question. We're on the bus side. You know, I talked about, you know, with the truck guys that they'll depreciate between 5 and 7 years and keep them for 10 to 12. What do the school districts and the bus operators do for a bus life cycle?
We typically see districts keeping school buses 10 to 15 years, with the average being around 12. So it just varies on the state, on the school district itself. And you know, these these buses are expected to last, definitely that long, and you'll still see your TCO message throughout that life of the bus.
Right. Well, and you came from a legacy, can you speak to that corrosion thing? I don't want to speak for your experience. You can disclose it as you will, but what was your experience?
Sure. I mean, as you see older buses running down the road, you see the rust that these steel bodies are having. You see the paint is, faded, and so it's a real problem, especially I guess that you would say in northern states where they're being exposed to a lot of elements. But this composite body is ultimately it's going to stay pretty, right? It's going to stay shiny. It's not going to rust, and you're not going to have the problems that you run into with a corroding body. So I mean, a lot of those states up north are they can't keep their bus 10 to 12 years because the body's corroding. So you're just not going to have that issue with this composite.
There's a question from James regarding the fossil fueled heater option. Whether there are any plans for converting that to net zero carbon synthetic fuels?
Boy, good question. I don't know. I would say possibly. I'm going to make note of that because customers, that's a catch-22, but especially, being in the northern climates, that it does degrade from the pure electric solution.
Michael, you want to take the next one?
Yeah,
sorry.
we have some great discussion going on in regards to our program here in Dallas, which is CCAP, and what their targets are as far as electrifying their fleet. And their fleet consists of buses as well as their utility vehicles and everything like that. And they have a projection they would like to get there by 2040. So just wanted to make you aware of that. They also have a zero waste goal plan, and so tying electric vehicles into the waste cycle would be something for them to look at too as well. And of course, the whole purpose is to make our air cleaner, and so that's one of the advantages of electrifying your fleets. Mark Woody makes a pretty interesting observation here, and he always does. He always comes up with these, and I appreciate his insight. But he says there's approximately 480,000 buses in the United States, and just from if Lion was the only manufacturer, I mean, it would take you 150 years, más o menos, or 190 years. 90. I'm sorry, to even deliver that. And so what that does is it tells me that there's a fantastic opportunity to provide manufacturing facilities throughout the country to provide both opportunity to workforce development and economic development in areas that we need to transition. So I just throw that back at you as there's a lot to do here, and that's just school buses. Let's not, all the municipalities it'd be unbelievable. So.
One thing that I'd like to respond to that and let Maria add on, I can tell you that in the truck fleet operations, many fleets will recycle about 10% of their fleet per year. So if I've got a fleet that has 250 trucks, they might be buying 25 trucks a year, okay? And with the school districts, I'm going to say it might actually be less. So I see the math, but on the other hand, we have to, especially with school districts, you got to remember, you're talking taxpayer dollars and budgets, and then what is the age of the fleet? There aren't any fleet that, they're going to turn their entire fleet over. They do that over time. And that's largely because of budget. And then secondly, if you spent X thousands of dollars and you've got your bus or truck is only 1, 2, 3, or 4 years old and even still under warranty, why would you replace it so quickly? Maria, what have you seen from a bus replacement strategy that you see?
Right, yes, so we mostly see school districts, it's about 7% that and then we're saying about 1% of that would be electric. So yeah, there are 480,000 school buses out there, but we're not gonna see that turnover, until many years down the, and for many years. So yeah, I mean, it's about 7%, I would say that turnover rate is.
All right.
Does anybody still on the Zoom meeting have any questions that they want to pose to either Larry or Maria?
Michael, I've got a question. You mentioned this CCAP program. Is that SEA CAP, or is it the letter C as in cat?
It's
CAP?
it's an acronym for the Clean Energy Community Action Plan. Is that what it's saying? I think.
Well, and really,
yeah, it's comprehensive, but it's the overall energy environmental plan for sustainability for the city of Dallas. I can provide. I'll send you a link to the website and the report.
that would be great. That would be great. Yeah, and I've been in touch with a couple of people at the Office of Sustainability that you had mentioned, but I will tell you, at City of Dallas. And so that's been great, but I will tell you that the guys that are running the trucks, they're nowhere near as receptive as the folks in the sustainability office.
Yeah.
Michael, did I miss any questions from?
No, I just want to bring everyone else's attention back to, capturing the chat if you can, but this is being recorded. We appreciate everyone's participation. I think it's been a great presentation. Thank you so much, Larry and Mary. Maria, I apologize. We did make mention earlier about the Climate Reality Project and that they're meeting next Saturday. And I got a little more information about what is going to be presented. It's going to be from the New Orleans CRP chapter. They will present a science and engineering discussion on the future of electricity production in the era of it just moved on me, of the Biden-Harris climate science plan. And so they also provide some links, a bio for the presenter. Oh, I have another question. I apologize, from Bill Byram. And his question is in regards to, in addition to school buses, are you also going to provide transit buses?
We do currently have a shuttle bus. It's a Lion M that we call it. It's the battery power on that is 160 kilowatt hours, and it gets a max range of 150. As far as anything above and beyond that, I don't know.
Would that be like a shuttle bus operation at the airports and things like that?
Yeah, it's a low floor shuttle bus. So we just came out with that this year as well. So I'm not sure as far as transit if we have anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
Or if we're going to have anything bigger than that.
I want to give. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Rosa.
I just wanted to give Maria and Larry a last round of applause for their presentation. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time and attention on a Saturday. Have a great week, folks.
Thank you. And for people who are still on the call, our next meeting on December 12th, we will have Susan Alvarez, the Assistant Director of the Environmental Quality and Sustainability Department for the City of Dallas, give us a recap on the CCAP. So we look forward to that. We want to thank you all for being here and staying with us. And we look forward to seeing you next month, same time, same station. Be smart, stay healthy, be safe. The numbers in Dallas County are very high for the COVID-19, and so we all need to be very careful with each other.
Yeah,
thank you very much, and I look forward to next time. Bye.
Everyone, one closing thing is that besides being smart, being safe, and staying healthy, is if you have any ideas about presenters, you've come across something in the past and there's a topic that you want that would be of interest to our group, please email me, text me, or Joella, and we'll look into it and see what we can do to arrange them to be one of our presenters. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Michael.